All right, this is no big deal because this can be edited out.
Okay, great.
So it's no big deal. We're just having a conversation.
All right.
All right,
Let's
this
converse.
is the very first ever Bad Relationships podcast.
Really bad.
And I'm Cameron. And
I'm Jessica.
all right, and we're here to talk about bad relationships.
And not how to not get in them. Don't do what we're doing.
Exactly. I am now with my anonymous guest, right, Mermaid?
Or Trixie.
Trixie? All right, I like Trixie. Do you like Trixie?
Okay.
All right. So, Trixie, you're going to tell us a story about a bad relationship.
Okay, I was 21 years old. I was going to college in Berkeley. I met this guy at a Buddhist meeting, and I immediately was attracted to him, so I gave him my phone number, which I don't normally do, but he was extremely handsome. And he called me, and then we ended up dating for about 7 years. And then I asked him if we could get married because we'd been together for 7 years, and he said no because he wanted to become a famous musician, and that was his priority. So I broke up with him and moved on, and then I ended up getting married and having a child. And then I ran into his brother, and his brother said, "Oh, you need to call Mike because he's not doing well." So I called Mike, and at this time I was separated from my husband, and so we ended up getting back together again, and we were together for about 2 years, and then I got pregnant, and so, I had to get an abortion because he didn't want to have a child. So I got an abortion, and then we continued to date. I was looking through his drawers, and I kind of realized that he was dating someone else, but I didn't have actual proof, but I did see him with pictures of another woman, so I had my suspicions. So he was a waiter in a very nice restaurant. The picture of the woman was somebody else that looked like a waiter, so I think they worked together. He called me one day and he said, "I'm at the hospital, can you come pick me up?" So I said, "Okay, sure, I'll pick you up." So I picked him up, and I said, "So why were you in the hospital? What happened?" And he goes, "Oh, I have pneumonia." I said, "Oh, pneumonia? How'd you get pneumonia?" And he goes, "Oh, well, I have AIDS." So I took him to his parents' house, and I told his mother. She was outside gardening, and I said, "Your son is in the backseat of my car, and he has AIDS." And this was before the AIDS cocktail. And I said, you need to take care of him because he thinks he can go back to work. He thinks he's okay. He's in denial. He doesn't understand that he's a very sick person. So so he moved back in with his parents, and I, at the time, was going to beauty school, so I would go visit him after school, and, we would go to the movies and just do things. And then he very quickly started losing his hair, and, he was losing weight, and so I think we were having sex for 2 or 3 years, and he had AIDS that whole time. It was HIV, and then it turned into AIDS. So basically, I was dating a man who had AIDS, who I met at a Buddhist meeting, who, still was supposedly practicing Buddhism. He lied to me the whole time. He never said, "Oh, by the way, I'm sick," or and then I found out that, he was dating this other woman because she ended up dying of AIDS. He was living with some other man who I think convinced him that he was going to make him a famous musician. Oh, and he also wanted to be a model. I think this person convinced him. I'm assuming he's bisexual. Obviously he wasn't completely gay. And I think this man convinced him that he was going to turn him into a famous musician or model. So he ended up living with this man, and then I guess the man was jealous about something and stabbed him in the back.
Literally stabbed him in the back?
Yeah, he had stabbed him.
Physically stabbed him
in his back. And then that was like right around the time that the brother, it must have been like right around the time that I ran into the brother and the brother was crying. And so I guess he probably went home to recuperate, and that's basically the time that I reconnected with him. And then he, of course he moved out of the home of that man. Eventually he died. I think it was 1980. I think he died in 1989. And then I found out through the mom, because I guess he had told her, or no, I guess the brother found out and told the mom that the other girlfriend died of AIDS. So it took me about 6 months before I could go get checked, and it turned out I was okay. I mean, I was in denial too, because I didn't want to go to the doctors, and I was terrified. And I had a eight-year-old daughter at the time. I was divorced, so I was by myself, and I was terrified, and I was in denial because I did not want to run to the doctor to find out. So it took me 6 months after he died before I could go to the doctor. So I actually knew I had been exposed to it probably 2 years earlier, but I never went to the doctor. And then, of course, I have a lot of anger towards Mike because, what he did. I mean, it was just unbelievable. I mean, I still can't believe it. I still can't even believe that he was bisexual. So that was disturbing in itself. And then the fact that he, cheated on me, he betrayed me, he lied to me. He did all those things, and here when I first met him I was 21, and he was a Boy Scout. He was so honest and sincere. He didn't drink. Again, we were both 21, but I mean, to think that that's what he turned into, I would have never in a million years have thought that's the person that he was inside. I feel very... No, I don't feel very confident with a lot of men, so of course I was blessed that I didn't get it. I feel like I was maybe not ready to die or not ready to get it. I still get tested all the time, and I'm fine. It's a very... I think I didn't even... Well, personally, I tried not even to think about it. It was just like, I'm not going to think about it. That's something that happened in the past. I'm not even going to think about it. But, I feel really lucky. And because, like I said, that other woman did die. So women can get AIDS. But, I still go out with men, and I still love men. And, I'm not going to let it bother me.
Makes me wonder, technically before you have sex with a man you should talk about do you have any STDs, when's the last time you got checked, but how often does that really happen in reality? Hardly
I don't
ever
know. How often does it happen?
I don't think I've ever discussed an STD or AIDS before I've had sex with somebody. I've always had sex with somebody and then freaked out and said, hey, when's the last time you were checked? And then I run to my OBGYN and I get every test on the... And then it's not a comfortable subject to bring up.
Well, maybe a start would be only date guys who have health insurance.
Yeah.
Because if they don't have health insurance, they're not... Well, you can tell.
If you go on a Tinder date and you're having a few drinks at the bar and you're really attracted to a guy, are you going to be like, so show me your Kaiser card?
Well, you could. I mean, because that's not saying, do you have an STD?
I had an STD check. What is the point of this story?
The point of all of this is, how can one person be in so many bad relationships? And it's applicable to anybody who's in a bad relationship. Why are you letting somebody live with you who's an alcoholic, who doesn't pay any bills, why are you living with somebody who hits you? Why are you letting these people into your life and allowing this to happen if they're not treating you well, if you're not getting anything that you need or want out of it? In fact, they're making your life worse. Why?
I don't know. I feel like it has to do with feeling that you're unlovable, and so you kind of take what you can get. And you let people walk all over you and take advantage of you and do whatever they want to you because you feel in a certain way either that you don't deserve anything better or that this person wants to be around me. They want something from me. They want to make my life miserable, but at least they want to be around me. And so there's some sort of feeling important.
You feel important because a person wants to be around you, even though you aren't getting anything you want from the person, and maybe they're making your life worse.
Maybe.
Like taking your car and just disappearing and parking it on some random street. Maybe. And not telling you, and then going to live in the bushes.
I wonder if it's also, is it boundaries? You know, you don't have any boundaries.
But why can't you say, this person isn't right for me, let me wait. Let me wait and look for somebody better, rather than letting in this person who is going to drink all day long and then tie up my daughter's dolls.
I personally think it's loneliness. It can be so devastating that I think women, and maybe men too, but maybe I think women more, will put up with anything to not be lonely. I mean, the worst human being on the planet, just because it's better than being alone.
What's wrong with being alone?
I don't know. Maybe it's society telling us that we need to be with people, we need to be married, and we need to have relationships, and it's not okay if you're alone, because if you're alone, that means there's something wrong with you. And we have this ingrained in our heads that if somebody doesn't want me and somebody doesn't want to be in a relationship with me, then there's something wrong with me. So I have to look for that relationship and look for that person that wants me. And I'm going to do whatever it takes and be with whoever it is to not be alone.